everyone. Give me one moment to see what the hell is going on here. Come on, stupid Streamlabs. So this is Tosa Fujinami here, aka Tosa Senpai, back with another video, podcast video again. I know I've been starting this up, and I'm still very new to all this. So if you see me trying to figure things out with the tech stuff, with the layouts, with messaging, marketing, I just go live at completely random. I apologize for that. Again, I'm a busy man. I have a full-time job, which is, again, I'm trying to keep my full-time job in check. I'm also doing some side stuff, which I just finished getting out of my side stuff, so my voice may be drier. So if you see my voice a little dry, I apologize for that. I hope you can forgive me. Again, for now, I'm trying to just wear this stuff right now like I do right as a moment, just with hoodies and all that. And again, I'm trying to figure out my image right now, but don't worry about that at the moment. I'm even thinking about streaming again. There's this game called Mandragora that's coming out as a Metroidvania. As you may have known, I was streaming Metroidvanias for a while, and I'm still playing a lot of Metroidvanias on the side. I'm trying to play Animal Well and Convergence, a League of Legends story. And now Mandragora, I started playing that, like the playtest for it. And it's so good. But again, that's not the point of this video for tonight. So, as you all may have known, I talked about last Monday. I talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 console pricing. Then on Friday, I talked about a little bit about the Nintendo Switch 2 game pricing. Today, we're gonna do a little bit something different. It's a little tangential to the problem, but it's a little related. So to start things off, again, we all know. Again, I'm broadcasting from America, which, for what it's worth, you guys may all hate this country, and I wouldn't blame you. Quite frankly, I'm a little upset by the direction of this country as well. But during the weekend, we got some news about these tariffs on past Wednesday. So 2 Wednesdays ago, April 2nd, I will not call the day that the Orange Doofus calls it. On that day, he instituted a tariff policy that would cripple everything that would happen in this world. And then last Wednesday, on April 9th, he decided to postpone those tariffs for 90 days, but he's still instituting tariffs that were already in place, the 10% already in place, and then some other raises to other products, and also to increase the China tariff to 145% during the rest of the week. Now, we all know these tariffs is destroying the United States' reputation, the business world, in the economic world. It's making other countries rely on not on the U.S., but on, let's say, China or some other countries, and quite frankly, this is all BS. If you all people have all studied economics and business in school or whatnot, whatever the doofus is doing, it's not business. It's completely, basically, insider trading, or it's basically, I was about to say, I forgot what to say, corruption. It's basically bribery. It's basically trying to fix the system. So, and when you saw the images of him, when he told his millionaire friends at the White House saying, "You made this amount of money on Wednesday. You made that amount of money on Wednesday." Of course, you would think he's a very smart person. He's not. He's very dumb. So, again, because he's so dumb, it makes it even unbelievable for people like me to see that our politicians, the people who should be impeaching this guy, are even dumber. So, whatever. It's, again, we're not in politics, but whatever. But in any case, during this past weekend, there was a news article that I saw, and I was kind of, let's say, not entirely believing or accepting of this story. And I find out that I'm pretty much right in my skepticism, but I'll explain that as well. So during the weekend, there was an exemption from the tariffs for certain high-tech products, smartphones, such as the iPhone, laptops or computers. So all of the people who have been buying laptops left and right, who are trying to get work done or go to school, whatnot, semiconductors or super chips, like that would help. Again, this is where NVIDIA comes in, because NVIDIA is a US company. And those are the main products that kind of got exempted from the tariff. So basically, they are exempted from the reason they're exempted from the tariffs is because a lot of those countries manufacture their products in China. China got the 145%. So right now they're exempted from that increase to 145, but yet they are still susceptible to 10%. Now, the reason I bring this story up is because, and I tried to look this up, there was no mention of the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, we know they moved a lot of production. They tried to move production to Vietnam. Now, they can't always do that because you never know what Vietnam could do, or you never know when the doofus is going to reinstate tariffs onto Vietnam. So, as a contentious point, Nintendo still has to worry about this because, quite frankly, they are still going to have to work with China. Who knows what the hell is going to happen because they may have to ship to America anyway, regardless, because you never know what could happen in Vietnam. There could be incidents there as well, so you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. Again, this is what the doofus does at times. He puts all his eggs in one basket and thinks it's going to work. No, it isn't, because, and if you think, how many countries? There's how many countries in this world? Almost 200 countries, right? 9-day delay, right? And he's instituted tariffs almost on, what is it? Almost all the countries, like 170 to 200, up to 200, but at least 170? 90 days, right? This doofus, you think this doofus can actually talk to more than one country one day without even losing his mind? Or basically saying, I need a break and I'll take 5 hours for a lunch break or 5 hours for another watching golf break, watching TV, binge watch TV break? You never know what this orange doofus is going to do. So let's forget about that, all that crap that's outside the point. Now, like I said, exemption for tariffs for laptops, smartphones, or laptops, computers, smartphones, and semiconductor super chips. Now, that does help Apple, for instance. It helps NVIDIA because those are American companies. Samsung is Japanese, but they do ship a lot to the US because of the Android, so that helps them as well. Google, let's not forget, Google is also a laptop producer of the Chromebooks, so it helps Google with the laptops. Apple, same thing because of their Macs. Microsoft also has helped out because they have a lot of different. They're also manufacturers of their computers. So again, for like Acer, Asus, Lenovo, all those companies that are helping them out. Semiconductor, super chips, NVIDIA, obviously, ATI, and all that. So all these companies are basically getting helped out. They won't get a huge spike in their products because that's what's going to happen. Their products are going to spike. And I heard a discourse online this past weekend that Apple was completely scared out of its mind that this was going to happen because they were pretty much in crisis mode, or were in crisis mode because they were seeing their costs skyrocket through the roof. So they had to find some way to get through this done. And again, because the exemptions for the tariffs are also for those specific products are also for those manufactured in China, so the tariffs is not going to hit their products for now. For now. That's the key here, because I read another story that says even these exemptions are temporary. If you saw that, that means that what does Apple do now? What do Apple, Google, Samsung, let's do American companies. Apple, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, what do they do now? Because they're still not out of the clear. Dell, Hewlett-Packard, I forgot, those are also American-based companies. What do they do now? Because, quite frankly, it's not over. Everyone was like, I saw the discourse, when everyone saw the exemptions, and they're like, oh, this is so great. I don't have to buy my iPhone so fast. Not so fast, buddy. These exemptions are also temporary, just like the delay in executing the tariffs is temporary. So this is not over yet. So right now, the good thing right now is that the cost of your iPhone, for now, it will stay the same. So regardless of if the tariffs have been executed last week or not, the U.S. has a huge stock of some of these products, like laptops, smartphones, and semiconductor super chips. There's already some stock in the U.S. Like Apple has enough stock of the iPhone 16 and its many lines. Google, same thing with Android and all that stuff. What was the other company? Like Microsoft, again, with the work of Hewlett-Packard, or let's say Dell. There's some laptops out there already that's stored in warehouses. So those won't raise in cost at all right now because they're manufactured in the U.S. because they're not going to pay tariffs on that because they're they're stored right now in the U.S. and then shipped to the U.S. So there's no tariff. But this will impact greatly, especially for Apple, come in June when the next iPads are announced. In September when the new watch and the new phones are announced. You don't think Apple was scared shitless out of its mind when they heard about the tariffs and what's going on in China, with especially not just the 20%, the 140%. Originally it was going to be just, let's say, the 20-30% tariff. Let's say it was going to go up to that if that was the original tariff. So originally their iPhone cost what, $800 for the cheapest model, and then $1,200 for the iPhone 16 Pro Max, let's say. Those costs would have bumped up at least 30%, probably around 20-30%. So your $800 iPhone was at least going to cost $1,000 most likely. Your $1,200 iPhone Pro Max was going to cost at least $1,500. Now with the tariff going to 145, let me calculate this in my head for a second. 1,200, right? So 145, right? So we want to at least double the price and then add another 50% just to be on the safe side, 50%. So that's another, let's say, 1,200, 1,800. So it costs at least 3,000. Now Apple wants to make at least, let's say, 25% additional profit from that. So that's 1,800, 25% of 1,800's at least 450. Yeah, 450. So 450, 18, 35. Let's say 3,500. So the reports that the iPhone is going to cost $3,500 in September. You don't think Apple was scared shitless out of its mind? Even I'm thinking about the numbers right now. A $1,200 phone originally was going to get jacked to $3,500 because of the tariffs to China that they had to do, because that's where the iPhone's mainly manufactured. And guess what? That's $3,500 to the consumer. Don't forget taxes. What's that going to be like for taxes now? With taxes, let's say in New York State, or not New York State, let's say in California's around 10%, right? Even New York State or Washington State, those are around 10% taxes. You're looking at $3,850 iPhone. And that's not including the case. That's not including potentially screen protectors. That's not including potentially another cable, let's say, or another charger. That's not including potentially an insurance plan. Maybe you want an insurance plan because it's so damn expensive. You want an insurance plan. Now you're looking at $4,000 at least for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And you can just adjust it just a little bit less for the iPhone 17 base model. But again, like I said, let's say it's about 150. Let's say 800. So we're going, let's say 400, 600, 1,400 with taxes. That's about 15. So you're gonna close to 2,000 for the iPhone base model. So if you're a consumer at that point, Apple's like thinking they want people to buy the Pro Max. They really do. They want to make the specs so much that they attract you to buy it. And I have a Pro Max myself. This is an iPhone 16 Pro Max that you see. As much as my screen just went dark because my stupid iPhone is black. The cover is black. But again, like I said, you're looking at now $4,000 for an iPhone 17 Pro Max in September with taxes and other accessories. You don't think Apple knew this? You don't think they were scared? You don't think Tim Cook's like thinking out of his mind that he wants you to buy the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but if the tariffs were to be executed and stay in place, basically he loses his business. Even the 2000 iPhone is too expensive because people are expecting 800. Now it's been jacked to almost 2000 because of other things. You don't think he's scared shitless? So of course, I wouldn't be surprised if the CEOs of Apple, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Dell, Hewlett Packard, they may have teamed up with the CEOs of Acer, Asus, Samsung. What else is there? Lenovo. Yes, there's Lenovo as well. MSI, let's say. They might have teamed up with them. All these companies, ATI, Radeon, they all teamed up together to reach out to this doofus, orange doofus. And when this orange doofus says, oh, we got plenty of people reaching out, he probably just referred to them. That's it. Why do we not hear any exemptions for any other countries or any other country saying we settled on a deal? Because the doofus is an actor. He's very good at telling you what you want to hear when it's not true. That's the point of acting. He's an entertainer. He's not a businessman because he hires people to do his business. Don't forget that. That's how corporations work. They hire people. And with the money he has hidden away, he hires people to do his work. Don't delude yourself. Again, he probably talked, all these tech bro companies reached out to him and they said like, hey, we're going to lose our money. And you know who led this charge? You know who also led the charge? Elon Musk. Because you know why? Semiconductor super chips are used in his Tesla. They're used in SpaceX. You don't think he was looking at his numbers and seeing that, oh shit, my bottom line is going down the drain right now. Besides the fact that Tesla stock's going down the drain, and I'm not a proud owner. I don't feel proud to own a Tesla at this point. I bought it before it got crazy. I bought it in 2018 before all this insanity. So even I'm regretting it. I'm looking at Lucid right now as an option. Even if I have to pay $70,000 for a Lucid Lucid electric vehicle, it still makes me feel better than the stupid Tesla by a stupid doofus Elon Musk. But again, forget about Elon Musk for a second. Let's go back to what I was saying about what the tech bros were doing. They reached out. They're the ones that had a coalition to reach out and say like, we are going to lose so much money. Please help us. You can't do this to us. And of course, he had to capitulate, the orange doofus, because he saw the stock market going down. That wasn't a big problem. He also saw the bond market going down, and that was a problem. And now he's having these tech bros come in saying that they're going to go down. And guess what? Here's the thing. Some of these guys are very smart. So don't you think, and here's what I'm thinking. Don't you think they may have looked at the orange doofus businesses that are still running right now and told them, hey, you have people that need that. If you want to keep building business, let's say you want your stupid Gaza resort or your stupid Mexico border resort or whatnot, because all this guy cares about is making money for himself, even as president. He's telling all these tech bros are telling, hey, your people who you're gonna need business for, they're gonna need phones because they can't buy on their own. They're gonna need computers because they can't buy on their own. All these buildings are gonna need software, all these chips. They can't buy them on their own. If you don't do anything, not only are we gonna make less money, you're gonna be paying that $2,000 to $4,000 cost for a smartphone for your employees, or the company's got to figure these out. The managers, whoever you hire, your budgeting team's got to figure this out. Your teams that need laptops, they're going to be paying, like I said, let's say the laptop's $2,000, right? That's, let's say 150%. That's $5,000 with other taxes and whatnot. That's going up to close to $6,000, $5,000 to $6,000 per laptop per employee. You don't think that's scared the doofus too? Use your brains, people. If I could think of this, you don't think the CEOs of these companies could think of that as an argument too? It's gonna scare the doofus. It's gonna be a whole issue for the doofus. The doofus gonna be like, don't the computers cost $2,000? They're like, you know your tariffs are gonna make it $6,000? And then he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I shouldn't do this then. See? It's so easy. So that's how it made sense that the exemptions happened for these tech products, for the laptops, for the smartphones, for the semiconductor super chips. That's why it happened. Do I think there's a bribe that happened with the tech companies? Maybe. There could be a bribe too. I don't want to go into conspiracy theory, but here's a secret about accounting a little bit. You guys know when you look through accountings and the financial statements, if you look through financial statements, there can be expenses called what we call the miscellaneous expense. If there's a footnote that explains what that is, great. Maybe it's true. But if there's not, I would question what that means, because you don't think that some of these CEOs, these companies use this money. Let's say they have this money that's behind in their back pocket, and some of you people are complaining about Nintendo too being greedy, and Nintendo company being greedy and getting more money and more profit for their Switch and Switch games, right? That money can sometimes go as a kickback. You realize that, right? So you don't think these other American companies are taking some of their profits and their revenue and using it to say like, hey, here's a little kickback, orange doofus. Put these exemptions, not just that we already gave you boatloads of documents saying it's going to kill your company. It's going to kill our companies, but it's going to kill your potential companies that you're going to invest in soon. Because quite frankly, we all know he's doing business under the table. Obviously, this doofus. But these tech bros are like, hey, here's a little money under the table. Help us out. So you don't think that's happening too? So now that the tariffs, now that the exemptions are here, should we praise the orange doofus? He set this example? Hell no. If you know why, because like I said, the exemptions are temporary. They're not completely permanent. We're not gonna see him decide like, oh, I'll remove the original tariff that I was gonna make around on April 2nd, because you know why? The fact that the doofus labeled April 2nd as blank day, because I'm not gonna say the name because it's not. The fact they named it as that day should tell you as a person in this country that he's not going to go back on his word. Because if he goes back, you don't think he's going to hear from his base or his people saying that you declared April 2nd blah day. Now you're saying it's not that day? You promised us this. And he's going to look bad because he's the one who made that day. So he's not going to go back on his word. All he's going to do is try to figure out, he's going to see if he's going to get his way with everything and see if he can get every single country, all 170 countries, in now less than 90 days, less than 80 days now, to all bend the knee to him. You think every country's going to do that? And even if every country does that, do you think it makes you feel good? Do you think it makes me feel good? Do you think it makes every American, most Americans, I know there's some Americans that would feel good, and that's a different story. But do you think that would make you feel good that every country's going to have to bend a knee to America just to get a deal? And for what? Right now, he's proving that he's a bully, and he's making America appear as bullies, and that's not good. Because again, what did he make exemptions for? Just for laptops, smartphones, computers, smartphones, and super chips, semiconductor super chips. There's nothing about video games. There's nothing about, some people are talking about books that are produced internationally, like anime and manga. There's nothing about that. There's nothing about like chocolate from Europe, because there's a lot of good chocolate out there in Switzerland and Belgium. Nothing about coffee from South America yet. There's nothing about that. I actually went to a Nespresso store recently, and I saw, sure, it's not much right now, I saw the prices already go up for the pods of coffee. So if you don't think prices are going up, they are. If you look at Costco, I saw this YouTube video about Costco for tariffs, and I actually went to the Costco app as well. The toilet paper, the Charmin Ultra Soft toilet paper, which we see commercials for, that price got jacked up too. It was originally around like $26, $25, $24, $26. That's up to $32, $34 now. What do you think boosted that? Tariffs! And guess what? Who's going to feel the effect of that? Not the doofus. Us regular people, right? Because, let's think about this. He is working with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk decided to work with the other tech bros to get the exemptions for this stuff. You guys remember when the orange doofus was trying to advertise people buying a Tesla vehicle recently, saying like, hey, you guys should invest in cars, and America, this is an American company and all of that. Oh, I don't drive cars. Did you remember he said he didn't drive cars? He doesn't drive anymore? So if you're an American, and you, like I said, the smartphones, laptops, and semiconductors got exempted. Nothing about cars. Nothing about anything else. And guess what? The doofus doesn't drive a car. So why would you buy a car that a person has never driven a car lately, or has not driven that car, is advertising or selling? Why would you buy that car? I would never buy that car. If I knew this doofus was advertising it, and I knew this Elon Musk was a crazy person, I wouldn't have bought the Tesla Model 3 back in 2018 either. I would have invested in a hybrid by Toyota maybe, or a different company. Hyundai has a great electric car I've seen. The Ioniq, which I would love to buy. Or now Lucid. I will buy Lucid even if I have to pay more money for it. I wouldn't mind. I sell my Tesla, hopefully get some money, half money off of it for the Lucid, and buy Lucid at this point. But that's neither here nor there. As I mentioned, no exemptions for cars, no exemptions for games, video games, no exemptions for video game consoles. So, and again, going back to my notes as I was writing this now, like I said, other high tech is still impacted by this. You don't think Sony and Microsoft are trying to scramble right now? Microsoft, American company, Sony, Japanese company, are scrambling once the current US stock of PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series consoles are gone. Microsoft, and here's the thing, Microsoft, I know Xbox consoles are not selling as well and they're having issues on their own, but they're going to still hit this problem when they next come to the next version. Or even, or Microsoft, they're thinking of manufacturing a handheld console. Imagine that. Their handheld console is going to suffer the consequences. Sony is scrambling trying to figure out how to deal with the PlayStation 5. Once the stock runs out of here, what do they do about it? So, and Nintendo, that's why Nintendo's scared that shit out of his mind right now, because they still have to take the tariffs. And here's the thing. The story I read, the discourse I read during the weekend is that Nintendo is now still trying to figure out what the price is. They may have to future-proof, so they may raise the cost to, let's say, $500 or $550 just to future-proof, because there's no guarantee that there's an exemption. There's no guarantee that they're going to be able to manufacture the console and accept some loss, which now some YouTubers, I see the discourse, they finally realized that Nintendo was taking a loss at $450, because part was the tariffs, but the other part was that $400 was still even manufacturing at a loss. So, see, I told you this last week. I said they're already scooping out a loss, but no one believed it. But now they are. So, I don't know. I said it already, but again. But now this is going to affect the Nintendo Switch, because it's still, the Switch was not part of the exemptions. And do you know why? Do you think the orange doofus cares about it? No, he doesn't. He probably doesn't even know that Nintendo has a game console out. He doesn't care. He only cares about what's going to add to his bottom line and his company's, or whatever Elon Musk does, or whichever company's going to pay him under the table. So that's why, if the console is not going to be valuable, it's not going to affect his bottom line, his direct bottom line, he could care less. It doesn't matter to him. Just like with cars, he even admits. So here's the thing: he hasn't driven a car in years, and you believe he cares about the cost of manufacturing a car when he doesn't drive one? People, I would trust the person who's been in the factories making a car and tells me how the car's made and all that. I'll trust that person in terms of how much it costs and what they would do with their industry more than a doofus who has nothing, who can't even drive a car, who doesn't even know how to drive one now. See, this is kind of something. This is just, again, it's just using common sense. There's nothing hard about this, which is why I'm frustrated to hear like all these things about people thinking the orange doofus is doing things that are helping this country. No, he's not. He really isn't. He's helping himself, yeah. He's helping the billionaires out there, which, again, he praises the billionaires for making money. But is he helping the person who lost money from the 401 retirement plan? He hasn't mentioned about it. Is he mentioning the veterans that lost their jobs, who fought so hard to give him the freedom that he got elected? No, he's not. So why are you defending a person who could care less about you? And not only that, he will insult you to your face. Don't forget, I remember that guy, the autistic guy, or the handicapped, the mentally challenged person that he mocked, and he kind of made it insulted. That doesn't look good. Trust me, it doesn't look good to the person who is trying to say like, hey, we're not trying to hurt people here. We're trying to help, and yet you're hurting, doofus. But again, going back to how does this impact the Switch and Nintendo and all that? The reason why it's a big deal is because the exemptions are only temporary. They only impacted 3 tech areas. If they affect the Switch, fine. If they don't, if they were to exempt the Switch, whatever. But it's not going to. And do I believe it will? No. I don't trust this person. I don't trust the criminal who's running this country, who's running the economy, when CEOs of Sony, of Nintendo, of Microsoft, of Apple, of Google, of Samsung, of Nvidia, all these companies are people who actually do business, who actually drive business. This doofus is an entertainer. He's an actor. He's not a businessman. He hires people to do his business. He's bankrupt companies just to save money. He's bankrupt Atlantic State just so he can make a buck. He's gonna bankrupt this country just to make sure that he makes a buck and that the country will be worse off because of that. Again, don't trust this guy. Again, I don't. It's not that I'm saying any other politician is going to be better, but at the same, it's going to not better. It's going to be the holy saint and all that. But still, it's better than this crap that we're dealing with in this country. But in any case, if only there was some way that these tariffs could be completely off the table. Because quite frankly, you probably lost some of your 401k. I lost a lot of my 401k. I lost my investments and all that. Who knows if it's going to come back, if the recession's coming and a depression is probably coming. This does not help because it did help us make our decisions and we're trying to make decisions as quickly as possible. But again, I'm still looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 and all these new tech products out there. I don't plan on buying new laptops anytime soon. I don't plan on buying a new iPhone. I just bought my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So I don't plan on buying a new phone at least until 2.5 years from now, maybe more. But I am hoping for the Switch 2 to come out soon and to release on time and to release in a way that benefits all of us in the US. But again, who knows? I just hope everyone, again, as I say in this chant, as I say whenever for myself and for everyone, anyone listening to me, it's not just about the what. Do not just hear the what about like, oh, the president exempted tariffs for smartphone, for phones, laptops, and semiconductors. In the what, that sounds great. Just in the what. But now you have to ask who, what, where, when, why, and how. Critically think. View the full context. Well, that's it for now. Again, I didn't go into my more of a game stream, more politics stream. But again, I want to get this video out there because I want people to understand that, hey, there's a lot of crazy shit out there, and I know people are trying to have some different opinions. I think, again, there's some things great about this. Again, now the tariffs are not happening, except their exemptions. People don't have to worry about buying their iPhone so much. The corporations are relieved too because they don't have to go into scramble crisis mode, which is what Apple was in, if the tariffs were still going to keep going. So, again, please think critically. Please view the full context and always think of not just the what, but the who, what, where, when, why, and how of everything. Well, this is Tosa Fujinami, aka Tosa Senpai. I'll have another topic on Friday, trying to keep this up every Monday and Fridays around this time. And we'll see if it's a different topic. Maybe it's really more gaming related. Hopefully Switch 2 has a release date so I can talk about that and be happy about something. So, but thank you everyone. And again, thank you for watching. I hope I'll see you on Friday night. Have a good night, everyone. And